Hey guys, it's Mariah here, and today I'm going to be doing a book review over Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is the first book in a series. As with all of my videos, I will be doing a spoiler-free part first, and then I will let you guys know when the spoiler part will be starting, so you guys can click off until you have read the book. Before I go ahead and get into this review, if you do like book reviews, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so I know. If you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I go into a little bit of detail about what this book is about in my last book haul, which I'll leave linked down below, but I'm going to be going in further detail about this in this video. So this book follows Citra and Rowan, who both are chosen to be apprentices for a scythe. In this world, scythes are what take life. They are the only thing in this world that can end a life. If something happens to you that would, in our world, kill you, you would be rendered deadish, and you would go to a revival center where they would bring you back to life. So the people in this world are immortal unless a scythe chooses to glean them, which is their term for killing. They don't call it killing because they have a distinction between our world, which is the mortal world, and their world, which is the immortal world. And what we would consider a killer is what they consider gleaning. Now, the reason that these scythes have to exist and they have to glean is because of the growing population, with people being able to what they call turning a corner and rewind their age. Say I get up to 60 and I'm like, I want to go back and I want to be 30. I can turn a corner and I can biologically set myself to go back to that. So people are able to reset their age, so if they're having more kids and more people are being born, and since no one is dying, they have to glean people in order to not overpopulate. There is an AI in this called the Thunderhead that regulates almost everyone's life besides the scythe. The Thunderhead cannot interact with the scythe at all. This Thunderhead is able to generate how much people will need money, food, shelter-wise, and no one in this world is poor, no one goes without eating. So basically people in this world don't want for anything and they can live forever. So obviously you start to see in this book a little bit of how their lives would be kind of shallow and not very meaningful, because basically they're just doing whatever they want without being worried about anything. And most people that are immortal end up marrying multiple different people and having different spouses and different kids. And people live to be 300 years old, and some people only live to be 15 years old, depending on the gleaning. The gleanings are supposed to be random. One of the main scythes in this book does their gleanings based on the percentages of how deaths were in the mortal age. So for one example, they went to a parking lot and he's like, this is who we're going to glean today because X percentage amount of deaths in the mortal age happened by accident in a parking lot. Different scythes have different ways of choosing who they glean, but they're not supposed to be biased in any way, and they're supposed to glean different people of different races, different ages, different gender, and not show specific bias. And if they do show this bias, then they get reprimanded for it. Now, the scythes have what they call a scythedom, and there's a high blade who is in charge of them in each area of the world. So they have conclaves, which they go, I believe they're 3 a year, and they go and they have their meetings, and then people who have complaints about other scythes and their bias will then go and complain, and they will be reprimanded if they choose to do so. This world has so many different layers to it, and I found it so interesting. All of the different political intrigue that's in it between the scythedom and how everything's going on, and all the different layers in the plot and the twists, and how I didn't really see most things coming. And there were a few things where I was literally like, this is what's going to happen. I know that this person did this and this is what happened. And I was completely wrong. All of my ideas were false. Way not even what I was expecting. So he did a really good job of the plot in this and not throwing very many clues, or in my mind he threw clues in a certain direction to make me think one thing, but actually those clues meant something completely different. So I think he did a really good job of writing this to make you think one thing, and then this is what actually happened, which I really do enjoy because I like to be surprised in books. I don't like to know everything that's going to happen. Really enjoyed his writing in this, and I enjoyed the writing style, and I enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed Citra and Rowan as a character and how it went back and forth between their perspectives, and you got to see into both of their heads. There were a lot of parts that I was reading when Rowan was talking, or in Rowan's head, that I would just start laughing because he was such a smart aleck and a funny character, and I really did enjoy that about him. And Citra was such a strong-willed character, and some of the stuff she had to go through was really interesting as well. I really enjoyed this. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I will leave my Goodreads linked to this so you can see my reading process in this. You can go read other people's Goodreads reviews on this and see if this is the book you think you'd be interested in. Like I said, I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I really think this is going to be a book that stuck with me, and I'm really anticipating the next book to come out in this series because I really enjoyed it and I want to know what happens next with these characters. And I'm going to go ahead and do a countdown, and I'm going to be going into the spoiler part now. So if you have not read this book, go ahead and jump off the video and come back and finish it and talk to me in the comments about this book after you've read it. Okay, so spoiler part. I'm going to kind of flip all over the place because there's a couple of different things that I want to talk about. So let me just dive right into it. Oh my gosh. So the first thing I want to talk about is Gordon as a character. Gordon is shown to be this evil guy who gleans in mass gleanings and goes and kills hundreds and hundreds of people at a time. And of course, I didn't like him. He's a bad guy. You don't want to like him. But there are a lot of parts in this book that make you kind of wonder, is he actually like in the wrong for this? And you kind of start to side with him just a little bit because he is such a charismatic character and he's such a likable guy that when Rowan starts to kind of see that way and kind of see, oh, maybe he's not the bad guy, you kind of think the same thing too, because me personally, I trusted Rowan as a character and I trusted that he wasn't going to go over to Gordon's side unless somehow in the storyline things would have got flipped and Gordon would not have been as bad as the guy that you thought. Obviously, he's a bad guy, and Rowan in the end didn't trust him, ended up killing him and all of those people, which I was not expecting at all. I did not think that that was going to happen, and when it did, I was like, whoa, wait, what? Is this a dream, or did he really just kill them? But out of nowhere, I was like, the High Blade just kind of turned the other cheek because he was smart and he had Esme and he knew that he couldn't use that against him. I think that Rowan's a very resourceful and strong-willed character for all the shit that he had to go through to be able to come out of it and see that actually he doesn't have to do what Gordon thinks he had to do. There's part of me that wonders, like, did they all really die, or because how Highblade was questioning him about how he never found his ring and he didn't find his cape and yada yada, because obviously he took it. I'm wondering if somehow, some way, Gordon got out of it and he will be in the second book, because I could just see that happening. You think that he's gone and the threat is gone, but obviously it is not because there are more books. So, okay, so I'm kind of just thinking more towards the end of the book because that's where a lot of this stuff happened. So the final test was not at all what I was expecting. And I see why he did it. It was very interesting perspective. So Curie said to Citra that you were going to kill Rowan and that'll be the second hardest thing that you have to do. You realize that she's giving her a hint to the first hardest thing you're ever going to have to do is kill your brother and render him deadish. Even though he's coming back to life, you have to look at him and stab him and kill him. But I myself actually have a 10-year-old brother, and knowing that he would come back to life, I think that that would be something that if I absolutely had to do it and I was in her situation, I would have. But at the same time, it's not like something easy to where I think I'm going to be able to look at my 10-year-old brother and just be like, oh, you'll be fine in 2 days. Let me just stab you. No. I honestly don't know if I would have been able to do that, even though knowing he would be back to life, because I personally in my life have a 10-year-old brother. So I started to tear up when I read that part because I could personally relate to how she was feeling at that time. And when you get to the freaking part about the ring, and I honestly had no idea who was going to win. I kind of had a feeling Citra was going to win because I felt like that would be the easiest way, and I knew that they weren't going to. I knew that they weren't going to kill each other. I was just wondering what would happen. I think it was really clever the way they had her punch him in the face and be like, "Oh no, I didn't know that that would get his DNA on my ring." I think that was really smart of her to do, and the fact that they had a plan ready, and then he runs outside and boom, there's Scythe Faraday, and he's like, "Whoa, who the fuck are you? What do you mean? You're supposed to be dead." Obviously, we already knew that he was alive because Citra found him, which that blew my mind because I didn't think that he was alive. I thought that he was dead, and I thought that Curie had killed him. I don't know why, but in my mind, I was like, you know what? He said that he would be afraid of her. When the High Blade first read that note to Citra, I knew that he was thinking about Curie, but in my mind, I was like, oh, she's the one who killed him. I didn't realize that it was a completely different situation. So I thought he was dead. So I was very, very, very shocked when she shows up and, oh, there he is. He's alive. What do you know? So obviously they left the ending of the book like, okay, what's going to happen next? They're back together. They are all alive. They're obviously going to have to be on the run because they're going to want him to die because the Scythedom wants what they want. Kind of in a reading hangover because all I want to do is read the second book. I don't want to read any other books. I want to read the second book of this, but I'm kind of pushing myself through it. So like I said before, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy this. I think that this is a book that's really going to stick with me. A lot of the things that you read in it, you really register with you, and I really enjoy books that stick with me longer than just a week, and I feel like towards the end of the year I'll still be thinking about this book. So obviously you got to this point, I'm assuming you've read this book, so go ahead and comment and chat with me and down below in the comments about the book, because I love talking about books and I don't know anyone who has read this book, so I want to talk to people about it. So go ahead and start some conversations with me, ask me some questions, tell me your theories, what do you think is going to happen in the next book, so I can talk to you about it. And if you've read any of the other books that I've reviewed, go ahead and talk to me in those comments as well, because those are still books that I'm thinking about. The other 2 reviews I have up so far are Gemina and Six of Crows, and I'm still thinking about both of those books, and I still would love to talk with people about it. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.